Hey everybody, we literally just got off the Zoom call for thesis, and I completely forgot to show you one of the things I had pulled up. Um, Here it is. I just wanted to say something briefly about figures and tables that you might use in your paper. Those, first of all, aren't required. You don't have to have figures and tables, but it's often useful, right? So if you want to summarize the data in a visual way, feel free to do that. Um, I like to use Al Purdue as just my guide for APA. And so here is a generic table, as they say, formatted using APA 7. If you're not familiar with how to make a table like this, it's really not that bad. You can just go over to Microsoft Excel and let's make up some stuff. Let's say that I'm thinking of Mikhail's study where we have different social media outlets. So let's see. Facebook people said they're most likely to use that one. And say there were 33 of those folks. And then Twitter was at 31. And TikTok was at, I don't know, 13. And Instagram, let's say there was a whopping 4. Whatever that means. Now, all you'll need to do is highlight what you're using. Right? So just make sure that you get all that connected. And then you can go up and make it into something useful. Give me just a second here. I started this, I thought, no problem, I've got it. And I do. Okay. So here you go. It's under insert. Come over to what kind of table you want. You can play with this, of course. Let's say we want to do something like this. There you have it. Right. So now all you'll need to do is come in, give it a title. Social media. Whoops. Preferences. Okay, that's all you want. Now let's switch over here to Al and see how they did theirs. So they've got axis title on both sides. We can do that for sure if we need to. Ours are pretty well clarified. There are other ways that you can change this a little. So if you do this drop down, you get lots of different options. So, it can make it look cooler. Um, like they have their, whoops, where'd it go? They have their legend right here, their key. We can make things move around with that. Let's pull this down. Well, we don't have any of those on this particular chart, but it will give you options. Let's see if we can make it do something like this. There you go. So again, you'll get it to this point. Then you just want to come down here, copy this whole thing. I think that got it. Maybe we'll see. Oops. Let's see. Yeah, and there's the table. Now, you'll want to go and look back at Al and see this stuff, right? Figure 1, sample figure title, right? So we might want to get that out actually of here. Get rid of that. And we can edit it from here since these are both Microsoft programs. They talk to each other really well. So, play with that. Don't worry so much about what you think looks good and what is sharp and all that. I know that matters, but and change those to periods for God's sake. Um, but make sure that it fits this, right? You've got these clear denotations. The other thing I wanted to show you just briefly is back here again with Microsoft Word. Let's get to a fresh page. Let's say we want to put in a table here. Insert table. I'll make stuff up here, but let's say that we want this one to be an APA table that is often you'll find these for resulting statistical tests or that kind of thing. And if that's the case, find an example of that. There's a couple of them here. And you can base yours off of that. But here, for example, row 1, row 2, they got the mean, standard deviation, one's for visual, one's for infrared. The F score, so that tells us they did a MANOVA or an ANOVA. And then the effect size, which tells us how much that mattered. Um, Again, you could do it a lot of different ways, but if you did something like this, let's say row 1. Well, actually, let's take that out. Oh yeah, and be careful with that. It will delete the whole chunk. So let's go down here and put row 1. Actually, I'll tell you why. I'm keep moving it in just a second. I'm gonna show you how to do one thing. Row 1, okay, let's say it was a 4.5 and a 6.5 and a 2.3 and a 1.1. Okay. Let's do row 2. Row 2 was a 4.3 and a 4.4. Okay. Looking at this, notice they've got variable and then they split this. That's easy, relatively easy to do too. So let's do variable. And they've got visual and infrared. Okay. So what I like to do is just highlight these two. Right click, merge cells. Same thing here. Merge cells. Now we can do visual and infrared, whatever that was. And of course, you can play around with how you want this centered and such. Then of course here we can go ahead and put in, now we're talking about standard deviation, or I guess mean was first. By the way, all these abbreviations with letters in these tables are going to be italicized every time. Now, what you'll notice here is that it still doesn't quite look like this one. You'll notice there are 0 vertical lines. And so what we want to do is go back and take that out. And so if you've never used a lot of this before, there's different ways you can do it. I like to go over here to borders, drop it down, sorry, and then click on inside vertical borders. Take those, well, why didn't it work? Borders inside vertical are gone. Great, now we need to get, oops, the outside. Let's get rid of those. How's it looking? Notice they don't have these on. We didn't do that part, but they don't have a line here. We can do that for sure. Come over and get back on here. Go to Border Painter and see if it'll let me do it. You just take that out normally. Well, what it's going to make you do for something like this is just take out all borders, and no, it's going to put them back in. Let's take them all out. No border. Now you go to Border Painter and you let it know where you want your lines to be. Oops. Are we getting closer? Let's see. Closer. We're missing 2 important lines. That's the top and the bottom. Let's just see if it will do that for us a little easier. Add in bottom, add in top, you're done. Now, of course, you have to label it and put all that good stuff, but that's the gist of it. All right, so again, it's not too difficult once you do it a few times. If you have questions on this, definitely let me know. I'm happy to help with this as well. We can meet, screen share, and I can walk you through it if you need me to. Have a great one, and see you next time.